So I know I previously said that we are not going to be able to vote our way out of the predicament our country is currently in. So what can we do? Well, the one way we know that will work is to shut the economy down as much as possible. So how do we do that? Well, let's talk about it. First of all, we need to have a plan. So what is it that we can reasonably and feasibly actually do? Because it does not make sense to do something that is just going to harm us, because we'll be back at the same people's doorstep that we're trying to get to actually listen to us and act in our favor. So here are some things that I think should be considered in planning how to mess with the economy. The biggest thing we want to do is to curb any unnecessary spending. What does that look like? Well, the first thing that I can think of is clothing. Clothing takes up a lot of space in landfills, and so in addition to not spending the money on clothing, we would actually be reducing our garbage footprint, so to speak. Ways that you can reduce how much clothing you buy is to use the same clothes that you had last fall, this fall. If you have clothes that need mending, do that instead of getting rid of those and buying something new. If you want to buy something new, at least new to you, you can also thrift shop instead of purchasing from retailers. Now, it's understood that this may not work across the board. For example, if you have children, we all know children grow pretty doggone fast. And so you may not be able to do this for children, but you can do it for adults. The next thing you can do is take public transportation. Now, again, depending on where you live, this may not be an option, so you need to consider that as you're making your plan. But if you can take public transportation, it takes away from the tax dollars that the government collects at the pump. It also cuts down on the profits that the gas companies make. So it's something to consider because it can save you money and also take money out of the corporations and the government that you don't want to currently have your money. Third option is to cut out big box retailers. Now, I know for me, I love Amazon. I have them on my phone, but to be honest, Amazon does not always have the best prices. Amazon does not always deliver when they say they're going to deliver. And so, do I really need Amazon? No. Is it convenient because I can shop with my fingertips? Yes. The same can be said for retailers like Walmart and Target. We need to cut back that spending and instead spend money with local small businesses, your mom and pops. So that way, again, it takes money out of the corporations that have so much sway over the political system and instead puts it in the hands of the people. Another option is to not bank with a large institution, but instead switch to a credit union. Credit unions offer pretty good rates, at least some of them do. And banks make money off of your money being there because they invest the money you have there in order to make money. Why not have that investment go into a credit union that is local, so that way your community benefits more than yet another corporation that doesn't have your interests at heart at all? Here's a good one. Telecommunication services, your cell phones, your regular house phone, your internet, and your cable is usually tied to that at this point. Most people have a bundle. Cut those services down to the cheapest package that meets your basic needs. Instead of having a cell phone package, for example, that is the premium unlimited, maybe you go for the basic unlimited. Or if they have a cap service that can meet your needs and it's cheaper, go for that instead of going for the unlimited package. These are things that you can think about. How do I give them as little money as possible while having my basic needs met? And speaking of having your basic needs met, let's talk about self-sufficiency. A lot of times we purchase things that we don't necessarily need to purchase, that if we put in a little sweat equity, we could make ourselves, or we could produce it for ourselves. So for example, did you know you can make a lot of the soap that you use yourself? You can make your own body soap. You can make your own dish detergent. You can make your own laundry detergent, all of those kinds of things. You can make your own toothpaste. You don't need to buy those things. But we live in a society of convenience, and so we pad the corporate pockets by us wanting to be convenient. Also, we can actually grow our own produce. Now, if you don't have a backyard or access to a space outside, you can grow some things inside. But if you have a backyard or you have access to a community garden, that is a great way to be able to grow your own and be self-sufficient without putting money in the pockets of the grocery stores and all of those kinds of entities. And last but not least, stay home. A lot of us like to go out to the club or the bar or restaurant, what have you, but if they're owned by franchises or other large corporations, then they may not be in your interest. It may be more in your interest to make a comfortable space and stay at home. Or if you do want to go out and you could find a place that is owned by people locally, do that. But be careful of where you spend your money when you're going out, because a lot of those places are owned by corporations that are then putting that money into political parties and affiliations that do not serve you at all. So these are things that I was able to think of in order to curb spending in a way that would affect corporations that affect our political process, as well as ways to keep money out of the government's hands as much as possible, so that way they have less to spend and play with our emotions in the process. So I am curious to hear what you guys have in terms of ways of curbing spending, so that way we can affect some sort of change. Or is there another way we can affect change? Let me know.